For those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're going to get to the other stuff in a minute, but what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So with that in mind, this time, I'm going to give y'all a little glimpse of the monster that was me way back in 2003.
From my scalp to my heel, your fame like to chill, but the rider in your grill, I'm trill as a motherfucker, lokes on my eyes. I'm stutter butter pushing, gutter hoes spread their thighs. I was raised amongst hard heads, knuckleheads and fiends. Dickies, crease cleans, tattoos, get a drink. If it seems like a duck, then it might be a goose. A chicken is a chicken, say your boy a 6 deuce. No truth, I'ma win, nigga. Can't drown, I'ma swim, nigga. Another ounce is in the wind, nigga. Again, nigga, I'm a one trade low. Twist your fingers in my spokes, then your pinky getting broke, loke. I was raised amongst robbers and thieves. Shake your hands, smiling cheese with a pistol in their sleeves. Leaves and buds is the heaven for a thug. Tuck in, snug, trade 5-7 slug.
Raised around killers, raised around them niggas, raised around them dope dealers. Getting thriller, paper chasing as a young gorilla. In the hood where I'm from, niggas all about business.
Yeah. We was going that hard at 17 years old. What the fuck was you doing with your life? Hey.
To be a G, what them G's get G's. Paper chasing, get my money on the cuts where them killers be. Hustle in my veins, catch me riding on free. Low key with them packs, niggas searching for the beat. Cause I gotta get money if I don't get shit. More wealth, more bricks, more hoes I gotta get. Cause first I get the money, nigga, then I get the beat. Cause she seen the candy car sitting on them deep dish. Better act like you see a young gorilla in the mix. I'll put you on your pussy, squat down when you piss. Can't fake it, never shake it, never did, never will. Cause bitch, I got skills, know how the real deal. 13th Street, living with them nose down the hill. We gon' serve you on the regular, serve you around here. If you hustle, then hustle, nigga, gonna get your script. If you real, then be real, nigga, yeah, you know the deal. Raised up to be a hard head, raised around killers. Raised around them niggas, raised around them.
Man, free my brother. He finna come home soon, man. That was my brother right there.
In the hood where I'm from, niggas all about business. Raised up to be a hard head, raised around killers. Raised around them niggas.
In 2003, what was you doing in your life? We was in the studio doing things like this. Here I go.
Man, it's all about the thrillers, you gorilla or snake. It be the last breath I take before they play me for a cake.
Running up is a mistake.
I was raised amongst crips, I was raised amongst niggas.
Hair tree, banana clip.
Brought up around fiends, I had to sell or abuse.
Can't be like my daddy, I had to go some new shoes. Hey.
These black dick is fat sack or the killer. I was raised amongst niggas all about that thriller.
It's the Mr. House, pause for the cause. Put them switches up and toast that drink cause we gon' bow. To my thug niggas who act bad on the floor. Till them hustlers get real, drink sippers who get dope. Till my niggas behind bars, keep your head up for show. I was raised around country niggas, bread in that coat. Till them boys, junks and old folk, niggas who sell dope. I was raised in the hood, nigga, get your own dope. Raised up to be a hard head, raised around killers. Raised around them niggas, raised around them dope dealers. Getting thriller, paper chasing as a young gorilla. In the hood where I'm from, niggas all about business. Raised up to be a hard head, raised around killers. Raised around them niggas, raised around them dope dealers. Getting thriller, paper chasing as a young gorilla. In the hood where I'm from, niggas all about business.
Hey, man. That right there was Game House from That's What That Is. Dropped in 2004. And Game House consists of me and my ace boo Coon. Me being Cancer Sun Pisces Moon and him being an Aries Sun Pisces Moon. And yeah, we was doing them type of things, man. We was doing them type of things, man. And what it was, y'all know who it is. And if not, I can't tell you. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And hey, man, hey, I know y'all wondering, what was that? I'm going to tell you what that was. That was a hard life, man. That was me going hard when I was a youngster, man. When I was knee high to a grasshopper, man. You see, I had 3 albums in the studio recorded and dropped and in stores before I was 19 years old. Real talk. And see, you wonder how that's relevant? That's very relevant because working hard when you were young working with words, having a rough childhood, being raised up amongst hard heads. That's all relevant to what we're going to speak on today, because this right here, this is a little something about those people that have Saturn and Gemini in their natal chart. And see, before I even go there, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell you a little bit about Saturn. I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about what the sign of Gemini is actually all about. And then after that, we're going to bring it to a culmination. And fortunately for you, you tuned in with one of the coldest closers in the game. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get this thing cracking. So, Saturn. Daddy Saturn. Hey, if you didn't know by now, this is the resident disciplinarian and taskmaster of the zodiac. And anytime you fooling with Saturn, it ain't gonna make shit easy at all. As a matter of fact, hey, with Saturn being the ruler of the sign of Capricorn and the 10th house of the astrological chart, you're going to always have to put the necessary steps in and do all the work it takes if you ever want to see tangible results if you fucking with Saturn. See, it's like that priceless message of Jesus Christ himself. If Jupiter's going to feed you a fish and bless you for a day, oh, Saturn's going to put you through some shit that teaches you to fish and you'll never be hungry again. See, I don't think you hear me though. When I was a child and I thought like a child and I was embroiled in my childish ways, I was afraid of Saturn. I wouldn't understand it. This represents discipline, hard work, understanding. But as I've grown in my maturity and I became a man, oh, I love Saturn. Saturn done became my favorite. You see, y'all youngsters these days, y'all be talking about pressure. Oh, I'm pressure. He's pressure. Nah, you ain't pressure. And that ain't pressure. Saturn is pressure. And you see, pressure do two things. Pressure either bust your pipe or to make your diamond out of you. I mean, you see me shining here right before your eyes. And Saturn also co-rules the sign of Aquarius in the 11th house of the astrological chart. So that says it's okay to want to rule the world too. And Saturn rules over time and all of its usefulness and all of its limitations. And when you look at that from a human aspect, that means it also rules over old age and all of the lessons that can teach us. And wherever Saturn shows up in a chart, it's going to show where we feel restricted and where we see obligations and where we might have some fears. It shows where we might be holding ourselves back. It shows where the universe might be holding us back a little bit so we can catch up on some karma. For real, man. And the sign placement of Saturn, this is going to show the type of energy that's connected with our feelings of obligation. It's also going to show the type of energy that we're going to have to work a little bit harder to access. But once we do, we can achieve mastery. And then when we're talking about the house placement, this shows the areas of life that we're going to have to work harder in to obtain the things that are coming to us. Now, the aspects, this shows direct involvement of other areas of our life with feelings of responsibility. And Saturn takes about 28 to 32 years to traverse the whole zodiac and come back to the place where it was at the moment of your birth. And that right there, that's that Saturn return. And this is one of the most feared aspects in astrology because it represents some hardships. It represents the ending and beginning of some karmic cycles in your life. And you're going to see some things change during those times. And how you adapt to that, how you handle that, it says a lot about you and your character. Sometimes it won't be anything because you're on top of your shit, but sometimes it can be crushing. I mean, how you think they make diamonds? So, when we talk about the sign of Gemini, Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac and it rules over the third house. It's ruled by Mercury and it lords over the arms, the hands, and the lungs. And its symbol is the twins and its mantra for me is, I think. And, with this being mutable air, pardon me, Gemini really dwells in the realm of the mind. And it's all about how we express ourselves communicatively. And whether it be verbally or literary, Gemini is all about collecting information and the fun that comes with sharing it. Yeah. Gemini energy is fun, man. And it's often the life of any party too. And one thing it ain't for sure is boring. It can never be that. And, I like to think that wherever Gemini shows up in our chart, it shows the way that we think and ultimately the way that we communicate our thoughts and even the way that we find the most fun exhibiting the traits that are involved right here. All right. So now we're taking Saturn and putting Saturn in Gemini. Well, the thing with this one is here we have an interesting paradox, because here we have individuals whose mind is both their most tremendous asset and their greatest liability. And that's because with Saturn coupling with Mercury, you're going to get people who are blessed with keen abilities to articulate information and work with words and deal masterfully in intellectual intricacies. No bullshit, man. This right here is a very, very thorough and calculated and systematic mindset. But the problem is their mind works a little too hard and a little too much. So they tend to overthink everything. And that right there, it leads to pointless worrying and eventually sadness and sometimes depression too. And, you know, in a lot of cases, you know, it's just going to take time to come up out of that. But this right here, this tells me that while they're easily able to work with vast amounts of information that will probably easily overwhelm a lot of other people, that confidence doesn't really extend very far beyond the data-driven world, which can really be crippling until they develop some type of social skills or, you know, pull themselves out of that and develop some confidence, man. They have to work through that shit. And another thing I've noticed is that, you know, what appeals to everybody else, it doesn't necessarily appeal to Saturn and Gemini people, because they ain't really all about the social scene and the party life. No, they rather stay within the safety of their own minds, where they're always analyzing everything and systematically arranging it and trying to come up with logical conclusions to everything. And unfortunately, some things just don't have logical explanations, which that's going to drive them even deeper into there, man. And, you know, communication, that could just be another major problem. That's because, you know, when they're younger, you know, being able to find the words to adequately express their infinite ideas and observations, it kind of feels damn near impossible, because it's like their mind is so oversaturated and shit's just moving way too fast and chaotically. Plus, you know, they're kind of afraid of the power behind their own words, because, hey, Saturn and Gemini would say, hey, this is somebody that knows the weight of their own words. You feel me? And it's just going to take time and maturity. And with that, they can just develop into these fine artistes in the realm of articulation. Cause hey, right here, man, words become real, true, tangible tools and weapons, if they need to be, that can really help these folks develop the confidence that they need to get out of their own head. You feel me? They got to get out of that own head. And, you know, they're just going to have to learn how to start confidently communicating with the rest of the world. Maybe I need to learn. And, for instance, here's something I'm going to tell you right now. And it's a perfect example too. Eminem, he has this placement. And when he was little, he's already admitted that, you know, he had a real hard time getting along and fitting in and communicating. But with the and it was because he was ADD. He said that, like, he said he used to just have so much going on in his head. He'd just be against the wall, just rocking and shit, like rocking. And, you know, I think, you know, kids like that, man. And, you know, the more that he worked with words though, and the more he got down and put those words on that pad, the more he was able to develop confidence and the more he was able to come out of his shell. But, you know, even now, if you pay attention to Eminem, he's not all that sociable of a person, despite being, you know, a Libra with an Aquarius moon, man. And, you know, I actually feel like that Gemini Saturn, you know, it says a lot about that in this chart, man. And to be honest, I forgot this. He actually has a song called Legacy where he tells this exact story of how his way with words actually became his saving grace, and it helped him establish confidence, and it became his superpower. So yeah, man. Who else? Billie Eilish, Elon Musk, President Biden, and Jim Morrison all have Saturn and Gemini too. Yeah. And, you know, when it comes to these folks' relationships right here, man, their lack of emotional flair and their tendency to want to rationalize everything is going to cause some major problems too, because no matter how it appears on the surface, they do have feelings, man, but they just can't find the right way to express them out loud, which, you know, it's going to lead to a lot of bullshit and a lot of misunderstandings, because it's just hard to deal with a motherfucker that constantly needs a logical explanation to everything, but trying to get them to communicate efficiently is like talking to a fucking wall. Oh, it's hard, man, and it's rough, man. And with this, it's just another thing that's going to take time and effort and consistency at working at it to develop confidence before it ever gets better. And so to sum this one up for y'all, you know, Saturn and Gemini people, man, they really do their best shit when they can work in some type of organized environment that puts all of their chaotic mindset into focus into kind of one singular goal or one singular thing right there, man. However, understand that they're just going to have to work a little bit harder than most people at keeping from overthinking everything, because then they overthink that and then they end up losing that confidence, which just makes them shut down. So finding a way to exercise that curious mind of theirs and to develop the confidence to communicate is just everything for these folks. I mean, it's everything, because, you know, once they do, nobody is more brilliant and nobody is more crafty. But hey, you don't have to believe a word I just said, because the thing is, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean is, we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, this is the time you should be hitting that like button, man. If you fool with me on any level, you should be hitting that like button, because I do know that I just went in. And you can hit the dislike button too. I'm cool with that. But I need interaction. Drop a comment. Tell me y'all fool with me. What's up with it? Tell me I look nice. And hey, I appreciate all the love and support, man. If you're interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, which really isn't my preference, or you can send me an email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Hey, and don't forget I got the merch too, and you can do the same thing. Hit me up in my email. But when it comes to the merch, when it comes to y'all trying to copy my swag, because I've been seeing some folks trying to do it, it's okay. I'll let you have it and I'll sell it to you if you want it to. But the thing is, this type of energy, this type of swag, it's got to be in you and not on you. So, let me put it in you.